was touch and go. How many times a day does 6-year-old Ajit have to sharpen his survival skills just to get across the road? Nalini to get the best out of the scrap dealer to whom she takes the pickings from the garbage dump? Ali, who's forced by his parents to beg to ensure his next meal is in place? Tara to get her fair compensation for the prawns she cleans at the Sassoon dock each week? Savita to ensure the safety of a 2-year-old brother who she stays home to look after? To stay alive in metropolitan Mumbai, these children are forced to live by the law of this concrete jungle, and only the fittest survive. In a city that houses scores of children, it seems to be easily accepted that some children have discussions on child rights, while others, who have to fight for their very survival, don't go to school. But not everybody forgets. There is an organization that works to ensure that these children too have access to school. And when that is not immediately possible, schools are created with access to the child. That organization is Doorstep School. While visiting communities to reach out to children whose names were on the school roll but were not to be found in the classes, Beena Sheth came across a large number of children whose parents had not even considered the possibility of enrolling them.
When I was in a second year of my MSW course, and I was being given the placement into the municipal school, and that the entire process of out-of-school children, reaching out to out-of-school children had started.
Taking education to children had been a major concern for many years for a fieldwork guide, Mrs. Rajani Paranjpe. Mrs. Paranjpe was then head of the research department at the College of Social Work, Nirmala Niketan.
While going to the nearest community to there for a home visit, we came across a large number of children who have never enrolled to the school, and that has made us realize that if these children who had come to the school and drop out, what about those children who have never come to the school?
Together, Mrs. Paranjpe and Beena evaluated the situation, and that's how Doorstep School was conceptualized. In July 1988, after Beena completed her master's program, student and teacher took on the challenge of taking school to the children.
When I was interacting with the around 25 to 30 kids who were actually out of school children, they were from Banjara community, and these children actually who was working at docks, cleaning fish and loading unloading fish from the boat. The girls were involved in cleaning and the boys were involved into loading unloading fish. And they were the first generation learner in their family. No one has gone to the school, and these children didn't knew that what is the school means. So it was the very first interaction when I was talking to these children. They said, I have just started with the simple games and recreation activity and awareness program, but the children had come forward and asked that even Didi, we would also like to learn. हमें भी सीखना है.
The community, then known as Dalit Ambedkar Nagar and now Baba Saheb Ambedkar Nagar, was made up of 150 temporary unauthorized structures and were not entitled to any amenities that the authorized citizens were entitled to. They came to Mumbai to provide the much needed workforce to the construction industry, and when they were not needed there anymore, they did the same with the fishing industry. Whole families, including babies and children, left for work early morning to return home late evening, with every child that was able lending a hand. When providing for essentials for family members here and back home was itself a struggle, who had the time to think of sending the little ones to school? Need for intervention was urgent. Urgent because an observation of their lifestyle showed that not only this generation, but the coming generations too would grow into illiterate adulthood, and Doorstep School intervened. Today, 20 years later, Doorstep School Mumbai works with children and youth of urban, slum and pavement communities, and 8 MCGM schools, and Doorstep School Pune, which was initiated in 1992, works with 100 construction sites and runs the Grow with Books project in 118 PMC and PCMC schools.
Whatever we are teaching them today, say reading and writing and ABCD and things like that, if they don't continue later on, they will definitely forget. There is no doubt about it. But what they will not forget will be the impressions which they carry with them of the school, of the teachers, of the visitors who come, and all the experiences they get in that short period of time when they are with us.
The organization's outreach in both cities, well over 30,000 children. Young men and women who, while seeking employment, have chosen work that is meaningful and brings them satisfaction, form the small army that makes this possible. Many who spent their childhood in circumstances similar to those of the children now themselves devote their time at Doorstep School. They form a rapport with individuals, families, and leaders in the community as they go about identifying children who would benefit from the organization's community-based direct educational services, balwadis for preschoolers, study classes for first-generation schoolgoers, non-formal education classes for the out-of-school, and door-to-door libraries that help neo and semi-literates sustain and develop their literacy skills. If you walk into a doorstep school balwadi, the vivaciousness strikes you. These kids are getting ready to take their first step to Standard 1. Children who've been helped to gain admission in the corporation schools, be it through our balwadis, non-formal education classes, or directly from the communities, need support. Study classes conducted in the communities offer this support. These classes were started in 1990 when children who were enrolled in the BMC school dropped out after a few months due to their inability to cope. The number of study classes in the last 3 to 4 years is growing, as is the demand for them, a good indicator that more children are attending school full-time. The non-formal education class is an option for children who missed the bus or, having got on, had to get off halfway, or for those who cannot attend school as other responsibilities placed on their young shoulders take priority. Although emphasis is on basic literacy and numeracy skills, students also gain an awareness of self, social, environmental, and health-related issues. Children from non-formal education classes, especially the younger ones, are helped to get admission in the corporation schools so that they can continue their schooling through mainstream education. These non-formal education classes have been tailored to meet the need of out-of-school children in the urban slum community. Variants introduced along the way were lane-wise classes for the adolescent girl who was not permitted to venture out of the home without an adult escort, late evening classes for the working child, one-on-one classes for child domestic workers in the residential buildings in the vicinity, classes at the Sassoon Docks for the children who accompanied their families to work there, and classes on the School on Wheels.
School on Wheel idea was actually started generating in mind of us since 1990, when very first batch of children we have found near the station, Churchgate and the VT station, and we did start the class for them near the station and the near VT station. But what I have seen, there was nothing concretely which we could give them, because today the class is here, tomorrow is there. Children also were not knowing that where the Didi is sitting today. So there was a lot of communication problem, and there was no common meeting time and point. So we did run the class for more than 2 to 3 years, and we couldn't give it any fruitful result. So that particular time, it was in thought has come in mind that if we would have our own vehicle which can be designed as a classroom and can be parked at various places where we find these children out of school.
Doorstep School's first School on Wheels was commissioned in 1998. The idea of running such a mobile classroom was first discussed almost at the inception of the organization as the only solution for reaching out to scattered groups of children. Back then, there were no takers of the idea due to the initial investment and recurring maintenance expense involved in running it. But when a proposal was put before the Consulate General Japan, they were quite intrigued and agreed to fund our first School on Wheels. Since then, the organization has added 1 in Pune and 2 in Mumbai. The organization has worked with the BMC schools from the very beginning, enrolling children and offering support. But it was in 1999 when a school support project was undertaken at the Colaba Municipal School and a more formal partnership was undertaken. In Mumbai, this intervention has evolved into what is now called the School Partnership Project, through which the organization works with students of 9 corporation-run schools. Students benefit from need-based packages that include study classes, reading promotion, mental health project, school bus service, recreational activities, along with various extracurricular activities to enhance the schooling experience. In Pune, intervention in BMC schools with the Grow with Books project, the focus is on building reading capacity of children, a must for any learning in school to happen. Street children in the cities have absolutely no opportunity to go to school. They come into the city with their parents who are in search of work. These children have no address to call their own, no documents to prove their existence, and even if the parents are so inclined, they cannot get admission into school. That is where non-formal education classes is needed to bring these children into the fold of literate Indians. A significant effort at capacity building for the Doorstep School team has always been incorporated into the organization's work. In Mumbai, the training cell focuses on capacity building of the existing team with a special focus on ongoing weekly training for teachers. Field trainers offer inputs directly at field level, understanding how much of what is delivered in the training is assimilated in their classroom processes and give them hands-on support wherever possible. In all the communities that we work with, the Doorstep School alumni has come together to form youth groups called Bal Samuhas. It is in these young people that we see the impact of 20 years of our work. Also, it is in them that we see our future. The organization's efforts are entirely geared to creating access to and imparting education to children who count among the most marginalized in our society. This is because we believe that any development in the absence of education can at best be piecemeal and temporary. Where there is a hut, there will be a preschool. Where there is a child, there will be education. Education moves on to every doorstep.